Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another special episode of Candid with RMT. And today I have with me Miss Anushkaa Arora. And mind you, that's a double A. So be doubly, terrified if you see her in court. But talking about Anushka, she's very active in courts. You see her always, busily running from court to court and just greeting those seniors and making way. So before all this, before it was ABA law offices, before this was Anushkaa Arora, how was law school, Anushka?
Well, very good evening or good morning. I don't know whenever it will be surfacing across to all of the viewers out here. I really like how you said ABA because I have not really considered the slang of my law firm, but it's ABA Law Office to be precise. After my name, of course, Anushkaa Arora. Bhardwaj is my mother's surname, and Arora is my father's surname. So hence the all initials of, and A, of course, is my own name. So with this, to your question, how was law school? Well, I'll just sum it up to this, that I want to go back. It was one of the best days of my life. I attribute my entire journey so far to my law school itself. Of course, I owe a lot of credit to my school days also, when I was pursuing my primary education primarily in Anne Mary School, which is in Dehradun. I did my schooling in ICSE, ISC boarding, so of course the English part was taken care. Then yes, law school, I was fortunate enough to come to law school after due selection. And yes, I owe the mentorship that I got in law school and so many more insights, and what I am today is all primarily owing I owe it to my law school.
So there was this one particular activity that you were a part of in law school. I was being a paralegal volunteer. How has that sort of helped you in kickstarting your career, and why should more students actively opt for the paralegal volunteership in law school?
So paralegal is primarily helping the people who are not able to afford the fees of lawyers, or people such as women and indigent people, minorities, etc., whosoever fall under the definition of people who can avail legal aid. Legal aid primarily is very near to me. I don't know what corner for legal aid. I was always inclined to such activities in which I can help and with my any sort of expertise the society can benefit. Not only in law school, but while I was in school also, my mother was a part of an NGO, so I was also a part of that NGO and working for the betterment of the society of that concerned NGO. So I always had this soft corner towards helping the society, which led me to become a paralegal volunteer in my law school. Having said that, I believe legal aid is not something which we should get into just for the sake of it. Legal aid is actually when it comes from within, when you really want to help the society. I am a very strong believer of giving back to the society, which I primarily I profess also, and I am very certain about. If you have certain abilities, or if you think you can deliver something well, then why not give it back to the society? So which is one thing which will come to another question. Maybe you may ask that. During my time when I was selected for my jail visiting panel in the Delhi High Court, I was asked this question in the interview, that why do you want to come into this panel? Being a first generation lawyer, I had nothing else to say, but I just had one thing, that legal aid has always been my passion, and I have always wanted to help the society and give back to the society, and I want to give the best representation that the convicts can actually get. And I believe that with my abilities, yes, they can definitely get a very good representation, and I believe I'm doing a fair job all these years. So that led me to become a paralegal volunteer. And with that expertise till date, I have had a experience in paralegal and being an advocate for legal aid for almost more than a decade. To the extent that today my law firm also has a legal aid clinic that offers Nishulk Kanuni Sevaएं on every Friday 5 to 6 p.m. And also I'm a part of the legal aid of Delhi High Court. So coming to the question back that how beneficial will being a paralegal volunteer be, it will give you the best satisfaction, I believe. Nothing else gives you satisfaction ever. I mean, we are in a profession, I understand, but law is a noble profession after all. We can all earn money, I am very sure of it, and everybody is doing pretty well. But the satisfaction you get after helping those people who cannot afford, and when you do good for them, when you give them that order they want, when you give them that acquittal they want, or whatever, whosoever that you're working for, that will give you satisfaction. And that is the satisfaction which you get after being a paralegal volunteer.
Wow.
It of course helps you in many other ways. It strengthens your various areas of laws, etc., that can be a basic answer to your question, of course. But I believe this is the essence of it. So definitely everybody should be a part of paralegal, being a paralegal volunteer. We all in law schools come from good families. So why not give them a good representation? So I urge that everybody should not consider that legal aid or being a paralegal volunteer is just, I do not want to say further on this, but I mean, we should definitely be a part of paralegal aid and of legal aid and be a paralegal volunteer.
The reason why I just said wow, because when I reflect back, I had also signed up for being a paralegal volunteer, and I remember getting those badges as well, but that sincerity back in law school, sort of wasn't there, and I'm sure that is with a lot of law students. Because when they're in law school, they don't realize or they can't foresee what benefits being a paralegal volunteer will serve as and when they enter into practice. But talking more about these jail visits, Anushka, how are these jail visits? And is it intimidating as a female lawyer to interact with those convicts? Do you sometimes get unruly remarks? Is the whole setup, it's obviously dominated by criminals, hardcore criminals. Tell us more about this.
Well, of course, Raghu, I believe being a female advocate itself is intimidating in many areas of the profession, which I believe everybody is privy to. It's not a very easy course. It's not easy being an advocate, and then of course being a female advocate, it's absolutely not easy in a male-dominated profession. I would definitely want to say, and we can maybe discuss on this further. But coming on to your question, jail visits have been very amazing. I never thought that this area would be really, I'd be really inclined to. I always had a knack for criminal law, of course. I believe when I started my entire training as an intern in 2012 with one of the most famous criminal advocates in Dehradun, and then coming to Delhi and then interning with Mr. Mohit Mathur, then Mr. Siddharth Luthra, etc. So criminal law has always been one of my fortes, and I really love doing that. But I really didn't know how well will I do in jail, before being selected. By God's grace, when I was selected for the jail panel, and I had my first visit in jail number 4, I am at a position today that I believe the panel is about to get over, and I will definitely reapply, not in the arguing panel, but in the jail panel only. Because coming back to my previous submission only to you, that the satisfaction you get. After all, I'm doing a service, I'm doing a free legal aid service. I'm extending legal aid in free to the convicts, to the prisoners. The satisfaction that I get, when I draft a petition, when I thereafter pursue the case, I coordinate with the arguing counsels, and when he gets a bail or an acquittal, or whatever, a furlough or a parole or whatever that he gets in his favor, or she gets in her favor. That satisfaction, the jail inmates, when they come and they say that, ma'am, it's all you, ma'am, it's your efforts, it's you, for us, you are everything. And when they mention this, that ma'am, हमने इतने सालों से private वकील करे या हमने इतना कुछ किया, there are all sorts of talks, of course, but the bottom line is that when they say that, ma'am, we have we've had a very bad experience so far, it's been so many years we've been here, but when you came, the case just went on a different track. The case is actually approaching finality. With your strategizing, with your persuasions, with your etc., with your draftings, the case is actually now coming to somewhere. Or maybe now I've got bail. That satisfaction when it comes, I mean, the sleep that I get is amazing. So I believe this jail tenure has not only taught me so many things, especially when you have to meet so many people in the jail, when there are more than 25, 30 interactions or client counseling, I would want to say in simple language. You're handling so many people, you're handling so many cases, you're advising so many people, you're drafting so many petitions for so many inmates, different cases altogether. For what? For nothing. For no remuneration, absolutely. But for just the satisfaction that you get. So apart from my private practice that I have, the amount of satisfaction that I only simply get in, it's all you, ma'am. Or it's all you, ma'am, and the arguing counsel. Or it's all you, ma'am, and the teamwork. That is more than enough for me. And then in fact they say that, ma'am, bahar aake, there's so many episodes, I mean they're all loose tongues that ma'am bahar aake, we'll definitely. I always say, ji nahi, bas duaएं chahiye. You just bless me. Blessings are more than anything. I don't want anything in the end. So that's, that pushed me to again retake the panel if of course God would want me there and I do my bit. Yes, of course I would want to go again to the panel and opt for jail panel just because of this only.
That's actually quite inspiring, even for young lawyers watching this who want to actually take up a career in criminal law. I mean, being first-hand present at the premises of any jail or talking to those convicts first-hand gives you those insights that even a very well drafted out petition would not, or seeing a senior advocate argue in court would not. So take our sort of humble suggestion into account and do opt for these visits, jail visits, panel, and the paralegal volunteering. Like Anushka mentioned, the sheer satisfaction that you get and the exposure that you get will one day ensure that you're somewhere at the top of the top, as Anushka is right now.
No, I'm a very small person.
But moving on, talking more about the struggles of a first generation female lawyer in a male dominated profession. How is it and what is it that you when you wake up and you like doesn't make a difference to me at all, if it's male dominated, I'm gonna get it done come what may, no matter what.
Well, Raghu, on this I would really love to speak. I would want to start with that the moment you get up, it's a struggle. I mean, it's the moment you walk out of your coziness, your house, it's a struggle. Be it, female driver on the road, or, being a female driver, parking maybe in the parking slot, or maybe, then when you're out of your car or, you're handling some stuff, or maybe you have a driver, then of course, female driver managing things, a female lady, managing things, managing a driver, managing a staff, then a female advocate entering the court premises. Every day is a struggle. Every day is, it's just, it's intimidating, it's harsh. There are, even if there are no verbal comments on your face, there can be so many gestures that maybe, you're clever enough to understand, right? There are body languages that you understand. There's so many things, of course. So your question has two parts. One is a female lawyer struggle, and along with a first generation female lawyer. I will say that when we now combine a first generation female lawyer, the amount of difficulties faced is unspeakable of. Of course, you do not have anyone on your shoulder, or anybody who's looking for you, or somebody who can speak on your behalf when you're actually doing something, or you want to do something, or maybe you want something, there's no one, of course, and there's nobody also if somebody does something to you. There's nobody, or I mean, there's no one, no phone call that you can do that somebody has spoken like this with me or somebody has done that. Please take care of it. There's no one. I mean, you are your own mother, you are your father, you are your own grandfather, you are your own grandmother. You are absolutely your own person who can save you. So it's just that I will say, it's your own conviction. It's your own, I'll just say that how well you rise from the ashes. It's your own determination and your own strength that you gather, that no matter what happens, you just need to be going on. And trust me, with this approach, things will I will not say things would be any easy or things would be any less. There would be challenges and struggles each day. And by each approaching day, by each amount of leveling up, there will be much more struggles and challenges. The amount more you grow, the more troubles, the more struggles, the more everything it happens. It is not coming any less for a first generation female lawyer, or for that matter for a first generation lawyer. At the end of the day, it's always your own conviction that you have to perhaps seek light and seek light back into. That's about it.
Talking about leveling up, we used to play these video games in our childhood of Mario Kart and other games where, ultimately when you keep leveling up, there's like a boss and like a mini boss and then like a boss and then like a super boss. So, you're absolutely right on that aspect.
Yeah, and each level was not any easier.
Exactly.
Level 1 was the easiest.
That's true.
Level
that's
2
true.
difficult, 3, 4, 5, 10 में जब आप पहुंचते जाओ तो और भी मुश्किल होता जाता था. So that's there, absolutely.
No, but hats off to lawyers, female lawyers such as Anushka, who are actually, putting in all her might and effort into the profession, and actually ensuring that there is equal representation gender wise as well, in terms of that they can also represent convicts in jails and take up criminal matters or do this, being a first generation lawyer. So hats off, Anushka. Moving on, you're an active lawyer with the BJP legal cell as well. Tell us more about the responsibilities entrusted upon you.
Absolutely. So BJP legal cell, the journey so far has been amazing. I will say I've learned so much. In fact, on my learning part, I'll definitely come in a bit. But before that, why BJP always was because in 2014 itself, and in fact before 14 also, as we were just talking before this, I've always been politically involved in my college. I have always been into elections and all, then being the president of the hostel and other different unions and all that. I've been always politically involved with only one aim in life, is to, again, going back to my submissions of before, to serve the society. That has always been my bottom line, be it politically involved, be it whatever. But of course, yet not forgetting my major target for in college was my academics and my curriculars and extracurriculars, and then of course in law my litigation aspect. So that has been my primary goal, and with that in 2014 my parents and my family were always BJP supporters, and with that influence I also started admiring the ideology of BJP. And then thereafter in 2014, just like a kid would do, I just went on the BJP online website, enrolled myself for BJP, and got a badge also, जो अभी तक गाड़ी में लगा हुआ है by the way. Nonetheless, I always had a vision that I would want to definitely go into the legal team of BJP. अब उस वक्त कुछ पता ही नहीं था जी कहाँ है टीम, कौन सी टीम, होती भी टीम है, नहीं होती है जी, हमें कौन बताने वाला होगा. हम तो फर्स्ट जनरेशन है, फर्स्ट दूर तक कोई भी नहीं था हमारा, तो ना कोई बीजेपी लीगल, तो क्या बीजेपी में कोई नहीं था, तो सिर्फ ऐसे मतलब वोट डालने जाते थे. तो बट आई हैड अ डिटर्मिनेशन कि नहीं, मैंने बीजेपी लीगल में जाना है. अब कैसे जाना है वो भाई कहते हैं कि man proposes, God disposes. So मेरा कॉलेज खत्म हुआ, and then I went to my masters. उसी के बीच में कोई एक, because I had already enrolled myself in BJP, कोई ना कोई जो functions होते थे उसके messages आते रहते थे. तो I think I was already pursuing my masters at that time, and I was in India back. तो एक message आया कि एक legal organize हो रहा है, कोई some program was being organized. तो आइएगा. वो मैसेज सबको जाता है, of course. Who takes it seriously? But I took it very seriously. I made it a point I'll go to that function, and I made it a point that day I'll go. I'll definitely see कि कोई ना कोई लीगल का होगा और पकड़ूंगी जरूर उसको मैं. हुआ वही. मैं गई and then I started asking कि जी लीगल का कौन है, जी लीगल का कौन है, जी लीगल का कौन है. करते करते किसी एक से जुड़े, एक ने दूसरे, करते करते finally I met 2-3 people who were actually the legal core team members. I told them my intention that look, I am here to deliver my best. I believe I can. आप मुझे ले लें तो, और अगर नहीं ले तो आप कुछ काम करवा लें और देख लें जी हम कैसे काम करते हैं, देख लेंगे फिर. God has been kind thereafter. I believe what I did, what happened at that juncture, made me to meet people, to introduce myself to them. Came back to my masters. It did not happen, of course, drastically. But I came back, started working, etc., etc. Then got my own law firm. But then that's how gradually there were 1-2 more functions. I again went. People again got to know she's the one who had come in 2017, etc., etc. And then thereafter we again mingled, mixed, spoke, and that's how everything. That's the journey of progression into BJP legal core team, which was very, I think, very smoothly. And it's something that I've really loved. When I say this, I mean. There have been laws that I've exposed to that, and I don't think I would have done this in my natural practice, like election laws, election rules. I was a part of MCD elections last year. For that we had very rigorous training from the best in BJP. We were trained how to read these rules, apply these rules, how to maneuver around the rules, what are election laws, what are election rules, what are different dynamics in election laws. There was a full-fledged training, and then I was bestowed the responsibility to take a baitak in one of the districts, wow. Which I did. And I was so nervous at that time, I really didn't know if I will be able to do it, but trust me, I went through everything and I had to brief and I had to tell everything to those people जो उसमें election में part ले रहे थे उस district के. तो मेरे आगे ऐसे लोग बैठे हुए थे जो सालों से ये करते आ रहे हैं.
I remember bumping into Anushka actually at the nomination form filing. A dear friend of mine was, filing out his nominations, and I saw Anushka and she was like very actively, with her laptop open and directing and instructing, and just like a, boss is like doing all those things, and I had to like go up to her like, tell me what is this written, what do we have to fill, what do we have to write, and she was kind enough to take out the time and tell me, this, do that, and I'm like, chalo, theek hai, now we have someone who we can, go up to and talk about this. So
why, I mean, with this only, I mean, because I loved what I'm doing, so we had to, there were times when we were doing all these things and, helping out in elections, law perspective, of course. So, usme, there were times we have not slept for 48 hours.
I'm sure.
Continuously.
I'm sure.
And I don't know how did I do it. If I go back again, मुझे नहीं पता मैंने कैसे करा. But वो पता नहीं वो बस हो गया. Because I think you love something, you just do it. So this is what I owe to BJP and this is what I owe to the legal team, because they also entrust upon that, trust on me that, and I also deliver it well. So that is, I think, it's amazing.
The answer is JJ, Junoon and Jasba.
Yeah.
ये दो चीजें हैं. I mean, I remember campaigning for my friend during the election. These sleepless nights were just like a routine back in the day. So, tell us, how difficult is it for a first generation lawyer to actually get impaneled with any government or private body, given the fact that you're impaneled with quite a few?
So, see, government and private will be two different things, and I'll deal with them. It's a very great question, and I really want to take up this matter, especially for all those who are first generation lawyers in this profession. I keep on getting many questions also from first generation lawyers, because once I was also at this stage that ji milta kaise hai panel. So I would want to approach this in this manner as to how I know how to get a panel. So as I mentioned, ki government and private are two different things. Let us first talk about being empaneled with any government body. It can only be one thing that I know of. It's your own merit. It's your own hard work. It's how much you put in, how vigorously you put in, and you will get it. It's about how would you tackle a questionnaire given to you, how would you put up your papers, how would you arrange the papers, how would you push that paper across, how would you send that paper across to the whatever, email or post or jo bhi karna hai. And A, it can be this setup. B, it can be a setup that there is an interview, that there can be an interview arranged in which you have to go present yourself, what exactly do you know, why do you want the panel. So being a first generation lawyer, it's not at all easy to get a panel. I mean, I'm very sorry, but this is how the profession is. I have had my fair share all these years across. I was also in a position right after law school, absolutely clueless as to कि मिलता कैसे है panel, कैसे होता है. But I want to go a bit step back to again coming on to this. As I mentioned, it's all your merit, it's all your hard work. Where you want to go, you will definitely go. When I was in law school, तो law school में भी ऐसा होता था कि अच्छी internship कैसे मिलती है. हालात कुछ बदले नहीं अभी. अब क्वेश्चन सिर्फ ये हो गया कि जी पैनल कैसे मिलता है. तो जब मैं लॉ स्कूल में थी तब भी मैंने एक चीज पे फोकस रखा, अपना सीवी अच्छा बनाओ, मेक योर सीवी सो स्ट्रॉन्ग, बी एकेडमिकली द बेस्ट एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर्स, बेस्ट मूड्स, prestigious college moods, very good paper publications, being politically involved, helping the society, doing actually work for the society, parliamentary debates, etc., and what not, writing books, writing chapters, good publications, good ISBN publications, ISSN publications from prestigious journals. Nobody can stop you from getting a good internship. I am a live example of that. I owe my first internship to my mother's friend, because I was very, coming from a no law background, having no lawyer in my entire, that's where I'm a first generation lawyer. But दूर तक कोई नहीं था, कुछ पता ही नहीं था कि जी कैसे करते हैं वकालत में, क्या होता है क्या नहीं होता है. तो my mom told me that one of my mother's very good friend was a very well known practicing advocate in Patiala House. So she said that she will take help from him because उन्हें कुछ पता होगा. वो एक internship थी ऐसी जो उन्होंने देहरादून में एक बहुत क्रिमिनल एडवोकेट, अच्छा एक वेल नोन क्रिमिनल एडवोकेट है, उनसे ही मेंशन दैट अनुष्का बेटी है तो आप कर लीजिए. वो एक पुश था into the field. That one push that I got from him in Dehradun, which led, and that one push that I got from him when he pushed me in Delhi with Mr. Mohit Mathur, that was the time. By the time I was with Mr. Mohit Mathur in 2013, I had excelled in my academics. I was in top 5. I had good moods with me. I had secured a best advocate award, second or third best advocate award, I don't remember now. I was politically engaged. I was, as it is in many other extracurricular activities. My CV by that time was good. That was the time when I tested कि भाई अपने आप को टेस्ट करते हैं, हम कितने strong हैं. That was the time, and that was the last time when it fell to the uncle. And it had to happen. I mean, that help had to happen once. Without that, I didn't have a lead कि जी कौन अच्छा है, कौन बुरा है, क्या करना है, क्या नहीं करना. वो तो I had to do that. But after that, when I came to the point, my CV was strong. I had all the things that I could actually put up in an internship and say that I am capable of this work. I started getting selections from Amarchand. I started getting selections from Justice Pradeep Nandak Jog's office. I started getting selections from so many other top law firms and from various good advocates, Mr. Siddharth Luthra to that matter, with Mr. MC Mehta, with R.K. Diwan, and Amarchand is one of my most, I would, as an example that I want to put across to first generation lawyers, when I say merit is everything, Amarchand has a policy of giving internship to students जो कि वैसे अपने एक रेफरेंस से आते हैं, उनको वो 2 हफ्ते की देते हैं जहां तक मुझे अब याद है, बट जो वैसे अपना मेरिट से आते हैं उन्हें वो 3 या 4 हफ्ते की देते हैं. आई वॉज सो हैप्पी कि जी मैं मेरिट से गई हूं, मैंने अपना वो, एंड नॉट ओनली दिस, जो मेरिट से जाते हैं उनको स्टाइपेंड भी मिलती है. दैट इज वन थिंग जो आपको प्राइमा फेसाई एक एस्टैब्लिश करता है कि जी मेरिट है.
And it shines.
तो कमिंग टू दिस ओनली, जब ये मुझे वो अपना स्टाइपेंड भी मिला, अपना चेक, और वो मेरा इंटर्नशिप, तो वो सबको पता ही था कि जी ऑफर लेटर में आया हुआ था वो कि जी आपको इतनी मिली है. और आई डिड मेक इट अ पॉइंट कि जी दिस इज, यू नो, आई पुट इट अ पिक्चर, आई अपलोडेड ऑन इंस्टाग्राम, मैं माय स्टाइपेंड मेरिटोरियस.
#proud moment.
So I mean, it's merit coming to this only. When
Yeah.
I mean, see, वहाँ मुझे एक I got a sense of my merit has always played a very important role in everything. If I could secure those top internships, जब उस टाइम भी बच्चे कहते कि जी ऐसे नहीं मिलेगा, ये तो जी रेफरेंस ही मिलेगा, ये ऐसे नहीं मिलने वाला, बट आई प्रूव्ड इट दैट आई गॉट इट थ्रू मेरिट. सो आफ्टर दैट वो एक लत लग जाती है ना जी, जब आपको पता है कि आप केपेबल हो तो आप कोई दूसरे रास्ते क्यों जाओगे.
Absolutely, सही बात है.
So Raghu, coming back to this question finally, that's why I wanted to highlight the previous background. जब वो लत लग गई तो वो लत लग गई, 5 साल लत लगी रही, और उसी लत से हम आज प्रोफेशन में घुसे. तो जब हमें पता है कि हमारे मेरिट इतना काबिल है कि जी मैं खड़े होकर बोल सकती हूँ कि मुझे यहाँ पर एक अप्लाई करना है, एंड आई वांट दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग बिकॉज आई बिलीव आई कैन डू अ गुड जॉब. सो आई थिंक आई कैन डू अ गुड जॉब. एंड आई, if you ask me now, as you had mentioned and you had asked this question, that's what I do. If an offer from a panel, from a selection offer comes that this is a criteria, आप भर के ये form दीजिए, I fill up the form, I put up all my due things, judgment से मेरे नाम पे कुछ भी चीजें जो चाहिए इनको, मेरा क्या है जी, कब से कॉलेज है जी, कब से LLM जी, कहाँ से क्या क्या, मैं अच्छा खासा पूरा बनाती हूँ. एंड मैं इतना, आई एम वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट ऑन माई सेल्फ कि जी होता है हुए, नहीं होता ना हुए, भगवान की देन है. भगवान की देन है. दैट आई मीन it's been well. I have, my capabilities have always ultimately given what I want, and my merit has after all succeeded in these applications. I do not want to go on to the different, of course, there would be references, there are references, and I don't mind also. ठीक है, everybody, we are coexisting in this entire arena. So ठीक है, that is also there, but then this is also there, and that is what I want to tell the first generation lawyers, that believe in your own merit. पहले ही don't just go कि जी रेफरेंस में हम चले जाए कि जी कोई रेफर कर दे. पहले आप अपने आप को टेस्ट करो यार कि आपका होता है कि नहीं होता. तो I do it like this only. I apply for a panel. There's so many more other panels that I have applied for. नहीं हुआ, पर ठीक है जी, जो आपके किस्मत में लिखा है वो होगा. And ultimately that also goes back to merit. That also goes back to see my persuasion of how I pursued BJP, how I had that passion. I want to be a part of the BJP legal core team to work for the society because my ideology matches their ideology, and because of that I want to work for the society, and this is how I'm working for the society, by serving the central government.
You know what? I couldn't agree more with you, Anushka, and just delving into what you said, that push, out of the 22 internships that I did in law school, 4 of them were a push. All other were merit. But there's a slight caveat and a disclaimer, where I would sort of disagree with Anushka over here, is that yes, you do need to get your CV on point, you need to be strong on your merits, but that is not the only criteria. Coming to another aspect of our profession, which is networking, and that is how a lot of law students, including myself, secure good internships. I remember I got into merit with Mrs. Siddharth Luthra, and there was this very top tier law firm that had come for a conference, and I was just amazed by the way they sort of engaged in that conference. After that, I went up to the admin staff of Mr. Luthra, and I just requested them for their details and everything. And since I had come through merit, they sort of referred me to that particular law firm?
No, so Raghu, nothing to disagree. In fact, so far networking didn't play an important role with me. But coming on to my next front of life, which was my masters. When I went to masters, I worked in Singapore also as a trainee. There, my first traineeship was with a litigation advocate who primarily did all litigation matters. How I got that internship was networking.
See, so that is the power.
And I'll tell you now, I mean, there's a small, caveat here. But that networking was also not just networking.
See, it has to be intelligent.
So
it has to be intelligent.
No, I know, absolutely. But that networking, no, Raghu, my point is that it all owes to your credibility of how much you want to pursue your passion.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you why I'm saying this, because that internship or that traineeship that I landed in Singapore, which was the first one with Mr. Jayakumar Naidu, and in Singapore you do not get internships easily. Traineeships you do not get it. They do not welcome foreign advocates or foreign students so easily. That was also how that I had enrolled myself in one of the conferences that NUS was offering at that time in Singapore, which was one of my areas of interest. There were many judges, there were many advocates, there were so many more people, and that is where when I met one of the judge, a learned judge of the Singapore State Court, mentioned my portfolio, which is again my portfolio that I told what I have been doing all these years of law school, how did I bag NUS, how I am on a scholarship in NUS, which also ultimately added to my merit, which he understood and he saw. And that is where I mentioned to him that, look, I am very seriously looking for a traineeship in Singapore. And if you have any leads, I will be more than happy to, extend my services to the best. That is where Mr. Jayakumar Naidu was also present that day. He said, I'll take you to one advocate. He's one of the very amazing, finest criminal law advocates of Singapore. And that's how we met. He made me introduce Mr. Naidu, and Mr. Naidu offered me the traineeship. So it's both.
This is very interesting because I have a very similar story to discuss as well. So this was back in National Law Day, which was happening at the Vigyan Bhavan, and our college was the organizing committee for the Vigyan Bhavan National Law Day. And we had those security passes because the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, was supposed to come, and the whole of the area was supposed to be standard protocol scanned and swept by the Delhi police. So only the people with the passes sort of get the access, and they were the who and who of the legal and the political fraternity were present there. This one senior advocate, Mr. Shyam Dewan, and his wife, Ms. Madhuri Dewan, they were supposed to come and I don't know what happened, but Ms. Madhuri Dewan forgot her invite. And I was a very enthusiastic, volunteer, and this one gentleman comes running that, this is a very senior advocate. He did not name who, and I did not know it was who was there. But there was like, one senior advocate is stuck up at the gate, you need some help. And I take the invite and I dashed. I'm like, sir, I'll be there. And when I went up, I see Madhuri Dewan and Mr. Shyam Dewan. And I'm like, sir, ma'am, huge fanboy moment for me. And I've been following your work, and I think it was around that time that the right to privacy, the Aadhaar card, and all these, fundamental rights judgments were being argued by Mr. Shyam Dewan. At that time, I didn't sort of, ask him for an internship though. Then I was interning at Justice Sikri, so he had come for his farewell party, and there I just casually mentioned that, sir, listen, remember me? I was, back in the day, sort of helped you out. So he was like very kind enough, yeah, I remember, ye wo. Then final semester, and I'm like, want to intern? I'm like, this is the time. And that's when I just ring up his office and I tell him that, listen, I took a photo with him in Vigyan Bhavan. Both of us are wearing ties. And I took that print out and that email, and I sent it and took that file with my resume and everything, and I went to his office straight up. So there was this receptionist, PA, who was there. He's like, sir has internship full till February next year. I'm like, what to do now? He's like, don't worry, you meet the head clerk. he will probably have something to help out. मैं चलो one obstacle is clear.
Yes, I remember.
आगे बढ़ो. फिर क्लर्क जी से मिले, उन्होंने देखा रिज्यूमे, आगे पीछे किया, फिर वो इतनी बड़ी A4 साइज में फोटो थी मेरी और सर की. आप सर से मिलिए जाके. And I wasn't prepared. I'm like, just come here for an internship. I don't know. And when I went there, Mr. Sharma is like very serious when it comes to talking about these things. So he took the file and he's like, hey, what do you want? You want internship for 3 weeks? We can't accommodate. Okay, chalo, we'll accommodate. Finally, on all that, everything happening, I bagged that internship. And still, this is one of the most proudest moments in my law school history, in my journey, in fact, that I was able to get that. So I credit a lot of just getting things done to networking as well. And if you're a credible person, you have that visibility. People will automatically appreciate that authenticity that you bring to the table, and they will do things for you in that sort of
taking forward that authenticity.
Correct. So that's there. As long as we're on this topic of networking, and this is something which is very close to my heart, and I love talking about networking, and I love to network as well. How important is networking, or how important a role has networking played in your life?
So Raghu, as you just touched upon networking also while we were previously discussing all this, in fact, personally, I am also a very firm believer that networking is one of the most important things in this profession, and rather especially more for the first generation lawyers also. So how networking has played, for me at least, it has been a boon, I would say, because I believe that my dynamics, how it changed in Singapore, like if we talk about how everything changed was networking. But of course, yes, as I was mentioning previously, merit was always the bottom line, because merit landed me to NUS and on a scholarship, and thereafter I fared well in the examinations also in NUS. So, but taking that forward and not only confining myself to merit, it was a sum of merit plus network, which led to so many more things that I have been doing today. So, as I had just previously mentioned about how my traineeships got affected because of networking, how I could land up an amazing traineeship in one of the first law firms of Singapore, which gave me a kickstart in Singapore. And then thereafter, it didn't really require, because when I was already working in a Singapore law firm, it was very easy for me to tell the other law firms that, look, I'm already working here. So, and this is my credentials, that I've been academic ace topper in my batch of my law school. I've been in top 5 in my law school, etc., etc. And having my extracurriculars of so many, prestigious moods like Jessup and judging Jessup international rounds and all. So it was very easy for me then to tell them that, look, I am already here. So aap lo mujhe,
Tell us more about this collaboration of ABA law offices with this tier 2 law firm in Singapore.
Right, so on following all this only, what happened was that while I was, working in one law firm in Singapore, and then broadly 6 months I worked there. Thereafter, I did get selected in the tier 2 law firm of IP specific practice area. And then I've also worked in the pro bono state courts of Singapore. That's how near that we were discussing, how near pro bono and legal aid is to me. So I've worked there also in the legal aid. So having all this, I'll tell you a very interesting thing on this only now. And this is the answer to your question. It was not easy to get a traineeship in Singapore. So for coming to this particular law firm, which was the first law firm of Mr. Jayakumar Naidu, I think I had sent 150 emails to various law firms and lawyers in Singapore, and everywhere कि जी मैं ये हूँ, मैं वो हूँ, I want to train in Singapore. तो जी I got J Law Corporation की law firm first. Then pro bono, then अपना tier 2 IP law firm. Then जी ये हुआ कि वकालत तो इंडिया में करनी है, क्योंकि सिंगापुर में डायनामिक्स ये थे कि 5 years रुको, उसके बाद पेपर दो, और फिर भी कुछ थोड़े बहुत एरियाज में हम प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं. वी कांट प्रैक्टिस इन ऑल एरियाज, एंड आई डिडंट वांट टू कंस्ट्रिक्ट माई सेल्फ. एंड फॉर 5 years I could not do a desk job. That is not, I don't think I'm for that. Is I made for that. Decided to come back. वकालत शुरू करी, और उतने में ही हाल ही हाल यू ऑल, एंड आप सबको पता ही होगा, जो BCI से हमारा नोटिफिकेशन आया दैट फॉरेन लॉयर्स कैन कम टू इंडिया and can lies and can do certain jobs. I took advantage of that particular notification. Advantage as in my networkings that I had done in Singapore, जिन लोगों से मैं मिली थी, and जिन लोगों को मेरी ईमेल गई थी तब, और ईमेल किसके लिए गई थी कि ट्रेनी लिटिगेशन एसोसिएट के लिए. बट हाल बदले, 8 साल हो गए छोड़े हुए रोज को. 8 साल के बाद जब ये आया, तो आई एम नाउ द फाउंडर एंड प्रिंसिपल ऑफ माई लॉ फर्म, एंड सिंगापुर हैज ऑलवेज बीन वेरी नियर एंड डियर टू मी. आई कैलकुलेटेड ऑल माई नेटवर्क्स, जी कौन कौन मैंने किससे बात करी क्या. आई जॉटेड डाउन एन ईमेल स्टेटिंग दैट यू नो मी, direct or indirect. This is a notification which has come in India. Let me know. And I had to, and I planned a visit to Singapore because I really love Singapore. As I just mentioned, I went for a weekend getaway, and I said, "जी मैं इस time में आ रही हूँ Singapore. अगर आप भी, if you're interested in this, and of course I had highlighted what I have been doing, what matters I'm involved, etc., etc. And if you think there is a possibility that our firms can collaborate, then let us take it forward." That networking, direct or indirect, led me to such a successful and such an amazing response from all of them, that how dynamics changed was that जी कहाँ मैं एक जूनियर लिटिगेशन ट्रेनी के लिए मैंने इतने साल पहले अप्लाई किया था, and आज मैं कहाँ, when I got such a good response from them, and they were also interested to take it forward, one of them being this particular law firm that my law firm had then finally successfully collaborated. Walking into the cabin of that particular law firm, when I knew that all these years back, 8 years back, when I had actually sent an email and nobody replied to me, कि जी I want to work as a trainee litigation associate, and now today that trainee litigation associate जिसको किसी ने response नहीं दिया था, that person was called to collaborate, to discuss that how can both law firms collaborate and work together on international, various other, Delhi matters here and Singapore matters there. How can we together coordinate on different practice areas? And because of this particular networking aspect, my firm has a very robust and a strong Southeast Asian desk in international practice.
Wow.
And because of this, such clients could actually bank on me and say, yes, we will put you as a one-stop shop, you coordinate your headache. And I had friends all over these places. I just had to send one mail or a WhatsApp, this is the client, this is what they're needing, let's do this. If they have to set up a subsidiary office in Southeast Asia, a certain particular country. So that's how that's how they put me there.
Wow, that's
or for that matter, not only then Southeast Asia, but can be any other jurisdiction across the world, because NUS gave me that particular, step. So today, if a client wants a Canada trademark registration, I have friends, I have my colleagues everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's how ABA law office can very prominently boast of a multinational practice. And because of networking, ABA law office has a robust international practice.
Wow.
And then of course this collaboration.
That's great. No, but you need to realize one thing, and this is very important when it comes to networking, and I think Anushka would agree once again on this. If you don't have the content, networking doesn't make sense for anyone. For the one who you're networking with, if you're networking with someone, if you're the one networking, you need to be well prepared, do your homework about that person, and I'm sure Anushka, you must have done all that. You must have gone through the websites, the previous history about the founders, gone through them on LinkedIn.
So without that, it's not result oriented. No,
Exactly.
Today what I'm talking about is results. Ultimately, results which have been seen. So that's absolutely correct. You need to have that particular content. You just can't for the sake of it dead.
Yeah.
Because today or tomorrow it will actually come up, and it comes up very early.
It comes up.
very early.
It does.
So yes, you need to be very strong and very focused on absolutely, and the conviction that is involved, it should have that along
Yeah.
with your content. That is very, very important.
And of course, authenticity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Without that, it just falls apart.
Absolutely.
Moving on to the final question, Anushka, and this is, I would say, one of the most important questions for all the viewers. What are the key takeaways, advice for young upcoming lawyers that you have? Your 2 cents.
My advice to young upcoming lawyers is just one thing, follow what you want, believe in what you want, follow your passion. Unless you do not like something, you will not be able to fare well in that particular arena. So do be honest with yourself. That is my major advice to young generation today, because my firm is, and I'm on the board of almost all top universities of India, including NLUs also. And ABA Law Office does get so many internships and interns each month. So what I've witnessed all over these years that I'm seeing is that students are just doing things for the heck of it, they are just working just for the heck of it. So in fact, young lawyers in the profession who just recently graduated also, I have taken so many interviews. They come and they say, and when I ask them this question that, why this law firm? Why this is a litigation law firm? Why this law firm? So there's so many answers that I get from these students. They say that, no, we like this, we like it. When I ask them that, do you have a previous exposure in courts? Have you gone to court before? You've been to Delhi courts, if the person is from the other state. No ma'am, we have not. We don't know. Yes, once we have done a VC internship. But these are sorry state of affairs today. You think you may like something, but unless you don't know what you're getting into, will not really bag you. So coming on to this, my take on this is that follow your passion, and passion पता तभी चलेगा जब आप करोगे ना, जब आप आओगे, जब आप सीखोगे, जब आप you will have that patience to undertake a particular assignment with any law firm, be it a litigation law firm, be it a corporate law firm. So my advice is twofold. One is to the younger lots in the colleges right now, कि आप college time में हो, you have 5 years with you.
Yeah.
And Raghu, 5 years is a very long time.
Absolutely.
उसमें आपको summer break मिलता है, आपको winter break मिलता है. And I've always been saying this, and that is something that I've done. That is why I can say today कि मैंने खुद ये करा है. तो इसीलिए जब मैं law school के बाहर निकली, I was not clueless कि जी मुझे करना क्या है, मुझे पसंद क्या है. I was very sure कि जी मैंने litigation वकालत ही करनी है. वो इसलिए श्योर हुआ क्योंकि मैंने 2012 से एक ऐसा वेकेशन नहीं छोड़ा था कि मैंने इंटर्नशिप नहीं करी, और मैंने एक ही टाइप की इंटर्नशिप नहीं करी. आई डिड इंटर्नशिप इन लिटिगेशन, विद अ लिटिगेशन एडवोकेट, विद अ मैट्रिमोनियल एडवोकेट, विद अ क्रिमिनल लॉ एडवोकेट, विद अ लॉ फर्म, टियर 1 लॉ फर्म, टियर 2 लॉ फर्म, नॉर्मल लॉ फर्म, MC मेहता जो एनवायरमेंटलिस्ट है बहुत बड़े, उसके बाद जज साहब के साथ कि जी कैसे प्रोसीजर वहां पे क्या होता है, देन IP लॉ फर्म, देन उस टाइप की लॉ फर्म की जी हर जगह का कंसेप्ट देखा, समझा कि टियर 1 में कैसा काम होता है, नीचे कैसे काम होता है, एक इंडिविजुअल एडवोकेट में कैसे काम होता है, चेंबर में कैसा काम होता है, तब जाके मैं समझी कि जी कहाँ आई वुड वांट टू गो. एंड सो दिस इज माय एडवाइस टू द यंगर लॉट्स जो अभी परस्यू कर रहे हैं अभी कॉलेज. दे शुड एक्सप्लोर each and every arena in all these 5 years. That is my first advice to them. And second advice to the younger generation advocates who are upcoming in this profession, who and recently enrollment जो अपने हो रहे हैं, advocates who will be recently enrolled. For them, of course, it's just that to follow what you want and not merely कि जी सब कर रहे हैं या फिर हमें लगता है हम वो कर सकते हैं. Because job and law as a profession is a very serious profession. So you should do something which you really love. And वो तब होगा जब आपने जी 5 साल अपना या जब भी आपको करना है ट्रेन कराओ, अपने इधर उधर देखा हो हर जगह, तब आपको पता चलेगा. तो एंड द बॉटम लाइन फॉर बोथ the college students and younger lawyers is be honest with yourself. That's it. That's how you will know what you really love. Be honest with yourself. If you can't be honest with yourself, you cannot be honest with the profession and neither the people surrounding it.
Just to add one thing there, also there's no such formula or procedure that you have to follow as they teach you in law school. That your first year is for district court or NGO internships, your second year is for your high court and your law firm internships, your third year is for your Supreme Court internships. I did a mixed bag of everything, trust me. I did political consultancy, I worked with a politician, worked with a judge on two occasions, law firms, policy think tanks, litigation, pure litigation with senior advocates, and because exposing myself to so much out there, and I truly believe that this is the holy trinity: law, policy, and politics. So I had that sort of notion in my mind, which is why I sort of entered that particular arena. So get that notion, get that arena sort of clarified, and because what we often see, Anushka, and would agree with me on this, is that a lot of people enter into the profession, give it 5-10 years, and then they realize that this is not my cup of tea, and just like take up any other job and like just leave law. जिसमें आपने इतना time invest किया है, so it's rather that you consciously invest that time and do something for the rest of your life than not do that, right? So, alright Anushka, thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much, Raghu. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.